Hello, Year 3 Order, and welcome back to our YouTube channel. It's very much a shame that we aren't able to be together in person for our lessons as we would like to be, but obviously because of the situation, we're having to do it over YouTube. And we're going to continue trying our best, continue showing our different learning behaviors like resilience. So we're going to keep going and doing our learning from home the next few days and next week or so. I know it's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be a bit of a learning curve for me too. So please bear with me. Things don't necessarily work quite how they should be. We will all try to learn together and we'll all try to do our best with the learning that we're going to do in this situation. The first lesson we're going to look at today is our SpaG/phonics lessons. Now, if you're on Miss South's SpaG group or Mrs. Floutier's SpaG group, you can use these videos to help you continue learning at home. If you are in the phonics group, so either my phonics group or Mrs. Hawes's phonics group, you can use the YouTube videos that are already on YouTube to help you continue learning your phonics that you will have been learning. And there is more information about that in the letter if you require it. So we're going to get started with our first SpaG lesson for today. Please bear with me one moment as I share my screen so you can see what I am seeing too. Oh, something I forgot to mention. If there are any questions or any learning that you have to send in, please send them to the email address that you can now see on the screen, which is orderyear3@greenridgeacademy.co.uk. And I'll be able to give you some feedback on any learning you sent in and hopefully answer any questions. As on the letter, it does say try to limit it to 2 pieces of learning or 2 emails that you send in each day with your learning attached within them, just to allow me to get back to as many people as I can. Today for our SpaG, we're going to focus on when we use an and when we use a before a noun. I wonder if you know anything about when to use an or when to use a already. Have a quick think to yourself and maybe if you can work out when we use each of those words. Now, using an and using a links to consonants and vowels, and they are types of letters. What I'd like you to do, on a whiteboard or maybe just some paper if you've got that at home, write down any 6 consonants you might know. To help you with that, consonants are letters or sounds that are not vowels. So vowels are A, E, I, O, and U, and consonants are any other letters. So take a moment or two now to write them down. If you want to pause to give yourself some time, you can do that now. So we'll come back together there. You might have written down lots and lots of letters. Effectively, you could have written down any letter that's not A, E, I, O, or U. So you might have written B, you might have written K, you might have written L, you might have written Z, and many, many more. And they are all consonants as long as they are not those letters that are vowels. And to help us with that, we use an, the word an, when there is a vowel sound at the start of a noun, and vowel sounds usually start with A, E, I, O, or U. For example, you can see the one on the board, an apple, because that starts with an A for apple, or an orange, because that starts with an O for orange. And we use A when there is a consonant sound, so basically not A, E, I, O, or U at the start of a noun. For example, a cup, because that starts with a K, which is a consonant sound, or a bottle, which starts with a B, which is a consonant sound too. Now, let's see if you can work out which one is the odd one out then. Can you use an or a to find the odd one out? So we have the words elephant, ball, and hat on our screen. Which one would be the odd one out? Again, if you need a moment or two, you could pause the video now and have a think. Let's see which one it would be. So the odd one out was an elephant, because that is the only one that uses an. You would say a ball and a hat. Let's look at another one. Now this one is a little bit trickier. We have the words umbrella, unicycle, and umpire. Now to me, they all look like they start with a vowel. They've all got the letter U at the beginning. But maybe if I say them one more time, you could work out which one's the odd one out. Umbrella, unicycle, and umpire. One of them sounds a little bit different at the start. Again, if you need a moment to have a pause and think, please do so now before I share that answer. So the odd one out this time was a unicycle. We use A in unicycle because whilst it starts with the letter U, which is a vowel, it actually makes a Y sound, which is a consonant sound. So sometimes we have to be careful, but sometimes there are some ones that do not follow the rule and trick us a little bit. Now, so just to recap, when we're using an, when we're using a, we use an before a word that starts with a vowel sound. For example, we say an elephant, an umbrella. It's the sound that's important. It's got to be the vowel sound. We also would use an for hour. So we say an hour. And the reason we do that is even though hour starts with an H, we don't pronounce the H. It's a silent H. So actually, it's a vowel sound at the start still because we have the ow sound there. So there are some that might try to trick us, like I said. As a mini activity, have a look at these words below and decide whether an or a should be used before each one. For example, I know it should be an apple. Can you work out the rest of them? Again, if you need a moment to pause, please do so now. Let's go through those answers together then. So it should have been an umbrella, an apple, an hour, an eagle, a chair, a hand, a dog, a cat, and a UFO. And the UFO is probably the tricky one there because even though it starts with a U, we use the Y sound at the beginning of it, which is a consonant sound. Finally, for an independent activity, I want you to maybe look around you, use things in your house around you. Can you write down 5 nouns that use a? So I'm looking around me, I've got a table just in front of me. And then write down at least 5 nouns that use an. Or I'm looking around and I've got an apple just sat behind my laptop on the desk. So there are 2 that I could use. If you want a bit of a further challenge, can you think of any tricky nouns like an hour that don't quite follow that rule? That can be a bit of a further challenge for you. And like I said before, if you want to send in some of these learnings, you could take pictures of your examples and send them into the email so I can see and share and maybe check that you're using the right word for those nouns. We are going to pause our SpaG there, year 3. I can't wait to see some of your learning, either from SpaG or other subjects, so feel free to send it into the email that you saw at the beginning. And hopefully you're going to tune into lots more of our videos. Thanks, year 3 order. See you next time.